Now, according to figures out today, a third of police officers are unaware medical cannabis on prescription even exists. In fact, the majority say their training on laws around medical cannabis has been inadequate or even non-existent.
More than 1 in 10 medical cannabis patients also said that they'd had some contact from police about their prescribed cannabis medication, with 2/3 saying they fear interacting with officers.
Well, we're joined now by the Head of Research and Access at the Sapphire Medical Clinic, Dr Simon Eridge, and a medical cannabis user, Ryan Spector. A very good morning to both of you. If I may start, Ryan, with you as a medical cannabis user, just explain to us why legally you've been given a prescription and what it helps you with.
Sure. So I was prescribed cannabis back in early 2020 for my ADHD. It's a condition that can make it quite difficult for people to stay on track, so to speak, with their daily tasks and functions. So it can make things quite difficult, like getting to work on time, taking care of chores around the house, like, laundry, washing up, doing the dishes, things like that. But it can have a compounding effect for those that suffer from it, where all of these issues occur to the extreme. And it can mean that, frankly, things that seem like small problems to the everyday person that has the typical train of thought can really be quite stressful and difficult for those that suffer with ADHD, because there's a lot more, they struggle a lot more with putting planning and pre-thought into things. So things tend to be very impulsive and sort of immediate with an ADHD sufferer. Whereas, with the regular train of thought, you find that people are more direct and on task with things.
So returning to you, Dr Eridge, if we could. So there's obviously a lot of misconceptions if the police don't understand this. And maybe you could clarify for us, what are the differences between the medical stuff, the stuff you get in Holland and Barrett, and, of course, the stuff you might get more illicitly on a street corner?
Yeah, so I think those are the two main misconceptions that people have, is that medical cannabis is one, the same as CBD oil. And I think one of the key differences is that medical cannabis, just like any other medication, has to be manufactured to a pharmaceutical standard and is accessed through a prescription and indeed for medical cannabis, it's only accessed through specialist clinics like Sapphire, where we have specialist medical consultants who can prescribe within the speciality in which the patient needs. So for Ryan's example, for ADHD, you would see a consultant psychiatrist, and it would only be them who could initiate a medical cannabis prescription for them. And then in comparison to recreational cannabis, again, you have that increased knowledge and safety that you're getting a consistent medication and that you're not getting it contaminated by any bacteria, fungi, or anything along those lines.
Sorry to rush you. We're almost out of time, and I just want to get another thought from Ryan on this. I mean, is this problematic for you, having your prescription? Have you run into trouble with police or indeed members of the public?
Yeah, so earlier in the year, in around April, I had a visit from the police that had followed from a few others as a result of complaints that I'd received around using cannabis. What I found is that while the police had initially offered themselves up as being supportive and willing to, help address concerns I had around having a prescription, it seemed that when they'd come to visit me on April 24th, that they were more keen on scrutinising my possession of cannabis and didn't seem to be aware of the legislation that had come out in 2018 that legalised cannabis possession. So it seems to me there's a lot of work that needs to be done there in terms of raising awareness and ensuring that there is that public knowledge of the legal availability for cannabis, because I'm concerned that if there were more vulnerable people being affected by such seizures, and unfortunately I'm not the first case to be reported in the UK of this happening. There's an individual in Scotland, I believe a year or so ago, who'd had a similar experience after having cannabis detected at a Royal Mail sorting office.
Yes. Listen, I have to interrupt you, Ryan. I'm so sorry, but we do appreciate your take. Ryan Spector, Dr Simon Eridge, thank you both indeed for enlightening on all of that.